Hello and welcome to The Year We Started a Podcast. It's a podcast born phoenix-like from the ashes of last year's podcast. I am your co-host, Jeff.
I'm your other co-host, Nick.
And this is a podcast where a couple of friends half a continent apart that would like to come together, kick back, and talk about some of the things that are fun and interesting to us. Nick.
Jeff.
What?
There's a delay there. Usually you say things after that. Sorry.
All right. I'm not going to edit that down. Okay, so Nick,
Good.
I have been made to feel very self-conscious by the internet.
I'm glad.
As a Midwesterner. And that is because I say ope. Is this a thing that has made it out there on the West Coast to make fun of your Midwestern friends?
No. What? Wait. What?
Do you even know what ope is?
No. What?
Okay, if you're
I thought this was a typo. When you put ope, I was like opening topic.
Okay,
What?
if you're walking down a hallway and like you do the thing where you both step the same way and you like both correct the same way, and then you have to figure out who's gonna go which way, and it's awkward. What's the verbalization during that interaction?
I might say ope. You might just say
Wait,
like
really?
a sound. It's just a sound, right? It's just like
Oh.
that.
No, but like the internet is making that be a whole thing. That's like a completely like us stupid Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, South
I don't know.
Dakota, Nebraska. Like, would that be unfamiliar if like you were walking and like oh, sorry.
I might just say ope. Yeah. I think it's a totally normal thing.
Well, screw you, internet, because I swear the freaking internet has decided that this is like some like Kansas / Midwestern specific thing that flipping everybody thinks is weird, and I don't think it's weird at all. Like I don't know.
I don't think it is
We're not
either.
that weird. Frick, why? Well, why has the internet decided this is a thing that they're going to make fun of us for?
I'm not connected to the internet. It's probably just because the internet's dumb. I also made fun of Canada for having Mounties and bags of milks and stuff, and those are all dumb things that you shouldn't have. But like,
What are Mounties? What'd you say?
Mounties? You don't know what a Mountie is, Jeff?
I have no idea.
That's a Canadian police, dude. They like wear these funny costumes. It's great. I say that like American police costumes are totally normal, but I think everybody's police costumes are just silly. But like Jeff, you gotta look at Mounties. Like they're great. Okay. They ride around on horses and they have like little hats. They're great.
Mounties?
Yeah.
I feel scared a little bit to Google this. Mounties Canada. Okay, thank you, Google.
Jeff, just look at pictures. Just look at pictures.
Oh,
you don't need
fabulous.
to know.
Oh, why don't we have these?
They're fabulous. I agree.
Oh, frick.
I agree.
This is some British influence right here.
This is very much. I've got a picture of one, and I think that they're all like a stereotype of like a country guy who's bald. Like this picture here is so perfect. I'm in love with everything.
I feel like I'm looking
now.
at a picture of these, and they're all the same person, just like within 3 years of aging of one another.
Correct. Yes, exactly.
That's very strange. Okay, Canada things. First off, have you ever been to Canada?
Yeah, I have.
Have you had poutine?
No. I was young and dumb, and I was like, that sounds
me
dumb.
either. So that's a dead vein of comedy
Dead end
there.
topic. Good job. I would though. I would subject myself to that. Like I want to subject myself to. Yeah. I'm into it.
It's like I would regret it so much afterwards, but like
of course.
Once in a lifetime. Win in Rome or win in Canada.
With Mounties.
Any cool things about Canada aside from the absolutely fabulous dress of their Mounties?
All I was saying is I used to make fun of Canada for like its little quirks of like, look at Canada, they got bagged milk and they got Mounties, the freaking silly guys. This is stupid. And now I'm like, man, Canada's got like healthcare and like.
Hey, Nick.
I'm not trying to get political. I'm just like, and also I want to go to Canada hell bad and ride bikes. It's freaking cool up there, dude. And it's also gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like
it is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, and like my friends from Canada seem like they like it a lot. So yeah, Canada seems cool.
So we have a mutual friend from Canada or two. I can't remember. Is the bagged milk thing a real thing?
I've been told that like you usually don't get your milk in bags, but like what's the big deal kind of thing. You know what I mean?
It feels so weird to even think it would be not a big deal, though.
I made this joke to my sister once, and she sent me a YouTube video of this guy who was like obsessively like debunking the bagged milk myth at his Canadian grocery store or whatever. It's really good. This poor guy is really upset about it. Like, I don't even see a single bagged milk. Jeff, do you feel like there's a lot of things in our society that are just like taken for granted as like the way things are? Not like in a necessarily bad or insidious way, just like, why is something like that? Just because, and there's no real reason. And yeah.
Nick, I feel like that is the most like obviously Jeff agrees on that topic thing you've ever said. But yeah, sure. I'll go with you here and I'll say yes, no, I agree. There's lots of things we just do because we do.
Yeah, and my point is like this is not like a great lead into this, but I got super curious, and Jen got super curious and was like bugging me. I was like, "There's got to be a reason. There's got to be like a natural reason." Do you know why we have 24 hours in a day?
Ooh,
Nick,
you've hit on a thing because do you know why we have the number of days that we have in a month?
Well, it's loosely connected to there being freaking what is it? It's like lunar cycles, right? It's 28 or 27 days and or 28 days and change, or 27 days or
I think it's kind of made up. Like, why do we have 12 months? Like, I genuinely like I don't know all the details to it, but like I'm pretty sure. Based on various people that have explained this to me in the past.
Yeah, this is exactly right. That's the thing. It's like all of this is just made up stuff from like thousands of years ago, except for years, which are like, we have like solar cycles.
Sure,
right?
Like that one makes sense. Like, loops around the shiny thing in the sky. Like,
exactly.
It makes sense. But like, there used to be, like with months, there used to be just a winter, and winter lasted from the time that winter started to the time winter ended, meaning like from the time it was too cold to go outside to the time that it stopped being too cold to go outside. And like there was no, and then the rest of the season started. But like, I don't like it's not super based in like any sort of super logical thing, unless you're about to correct me, Nick. In which case, go ahead.
You're totally right. That's exactly it. I think it's cool and interesting, but basically, like all of our timekeeping is just like random, arbitrary nonsense that ancient Egyptians, Babylons, and Greeks decided on, and it just like has persisted since forever. Which I think is like very indicative of how our society works. Sometimes it's just like it works well enough, and yes, everything does have a base of like ancient Greeks or ancient Egyptians, like just being way ahead of their time. So okay, to go with freaking like 24 hours in a day is literally because, and the reason we also have 12 hours per, I don't even know what AM and PM stand for anymore. I had it written up here, but I don't really care. But is literally just because the original sundials from like 3000 BC they just decided to divide them into duodecimal base 12, and they just divided the day into like, okay, we have like one unit of time that is like sunrise to sunset, and that is day, and that is 12 hours, and we'll have another unit of time that's 12 hours after, and that's night. And yes, they're going to be uneven, and we understand that the hours are different in different times of the year, different parts of the year, just seasonally and whatever else. They just didn't care. And we never said anything about it. We just literally adopted.
Nick, I'm getting so mad. Because we didn't care about it until daylight savings time, which I think probably episode 4. Because honestly, if you talk to me long enough, I will get very upset about daylight savings time. Like, what the flying flip? Like, it's not a perfect system anyways. So why are we making it hard on everybody by switching the times around? And like Phoenix. Like, they apparently just, decide to live on this other world in which the time change doesn't happen. Like, and it works out fine. Do we not notice that Phoenix is cool? Like, do it. Like, why don't we all just do it? It works fine. It will take no work.
In my mind, Phoenix is just
oh my gosh, I'm so mad.
These primitive apes in California and Kansas with their daylight saving times.
Like
So quaint.
already like so arbitrary. Why do we have to make it even more arbitrary and difficult and bad? I do database stuff for a living, and I have to constantly convert for the fact that half the places don't have freaking daylight savings times the other half do. Like why? Like why are we doing it? It means nothing.
No reason.
It means nothing.
It means nothing. It's exactly right.
Except for making my life hard. Okay.
By the way,
I'm sorry, Nick.
You're fine.
I'm done.
You're
I'm
fine.
good. I'm good. Don't talk to me about the penny. We're good.
I will. You get Jeff going long enough. It's daylight savings time and the penny.
I literally have not carried cash in freaking 5 years. Okay. Why do we do the penny? Okay. Nope.
No, okay.
Back up.
So why do you think we do 60 minutes, 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour?
I feel like I know the answer to this, but I can't regurgitate it yet.
So
go ahead.
There's
Tell me.
there's no explicit reason that we have found why. No. That the ancient Babylon astronomers used sexagesimal, which is base 60, which for anybody out there who's not a computer science nerd, like the two of us, bases are like, decimal system is base 10. That's like, so 11 is 1 1, and that means it's 1 after 10. Anyways, so they use base 60, which is useful for conveying fractions in that a lot of fractions work well with 60, just like coincidentally. 1 to 6 are all divisible by 60, and what is it? Like there's a bunch of other numbers after that, 10, 12, 15, 20, 30, something like that. So like basically point being that fractions in base 60 are less annoying than they would be in some other random arbitrary base, but it's probably also still relatively arbitrary that they chose it. I'm sure there's other ones that are that are also, similarly not that annoying to use. Yeah. And they used it, and the reason that it's held on so long with circles in particular is that original globes and original maps of the world that were taking into the idea that it was the planet was circular, were using longitude and latitude lines that they just decided to divide into 60 because ancient Greek astronomers and ancient Babylon astronomers used base 60 and stuff. So like the original map with longitude and latitude, like the Greek term, I had it up here and I lost it. I apologize. But the original Greek terms were like minutos primary or something like that, and that's minutes, and then minutos secondaries, which were like the smaller lines that divided it up into 360 degrees instead of 60 on their original circular maps. Which they didn't have a picture of the world as round. I don't know why I said that, but whatever, I don't care. They had round maps, and then they also divided circles that way to do old school geometry and crap, and that's just how we've kept it for forever, basically.
Yeah.
Which is like slightly better because like we were using it for math, and base 60 is like at least a relatively useful thing, but like hello? Like why? Why are we still doing this forever later?
I just want to take this to so many different places. Nick, this is the best main topic we've ever had that's not been a main topic. How do you think time will be measured on Mars? And I'll give you a second to think about this. I don't know if I've ever shared this on the podcast or not, but my son's name is from a book that I wrote for my wife when we were in high school. And one of the things that I kind of explored there was the difference in an Earth day versus a Mars day. And they're close, but not quite close enough that you could just like use a unit of time that would be easily convertible. So thoughts on, assuming someday we have people on Mars, will they convert time to, their own relative spin around the Earth and spin around per day, or do you think they'll adopt Earth time? I have thoughts on this. I'm curious to hear what you think.
I mean, so like one, if they do decide to not adopt Earth time, I have to assume they're just going to do decimal because it just makes more sense. That's like everything else we do in our freaking life is in decimal. Like I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me that we have things that are not in base 10. But like, why wouldn't you just do a new system with base 10? I feel like if you try to do I feel like if you tried to hold up to Earth time, like either one, like you're gonna have to add or remove hours, right? Or your hours and seconds and times are gonna have to be a different length, which would be really weird to me Like, even if all it was you just said, like, okay, everything else is equal, minutes and hours are equal, and seconds are the same amount of time, but there's more there's more seconds in a minute in order to compensate for the amount of, like, like, even if you just do one thing as a compensation, it would be really weird to me to be like, oh yeah, this is Mars where we have 83 seconds in a minute, but everything else is the same. That would be really freaking weird and hard to compensate for and hard to deal with, right? And then if you were trying to communicate with somebody about time, like, assuming that, Mars and Earth could communicate in this hypothetical, like, distant future, it would be really awkward and weird. I don't know. I don't understand how you really do it effectively.
My answer to that is basically what you just rambled about. I think it's very complicated to actually think about how you would do that, because from a computational standpoint, it 100% makes sense to just utilize what our current Earth definitions are for time. And gosh, like, it gets even more in depth when you actually talk about what that even means. Because technically it's slightly different the farther out in the universe you go, and it may not be meaningful at Mars lengths, but what if we were to inhabit something that was farther out in the universe? It's a whole nother thing. But yeah, the problem with that from a computational standpoint, it does not match up to what your typical sleep cycles would be on another planet, and would you just adjust to that? Like, it's a whole weird deal. Like, a 25-hour day or whatever it is going to be completely different than what you're used to on Earth. And we see that currently with the people that are working on the Mars mission, where they are offset like a day or an hour per day or something like that. And so, like, they have to, like, try to adjust to that, and it's like a whole weird thing. And I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see how that sort of stuff evolves, because, like, we don't, like most things, we don't really know until we get to it, and it's going to be a weird deal.
I imagine for the people here that, like, will have to use seconds as a relatively similar thing, because most of us can kind of roughly approximate a second, and it's so tuned into, like, our day-to-day that, like, everything else will have to come secondary to seconds probably remaining same, because seconds are a single thing that we can kind of, like, oh yeah, I'll be there in 30 seconds or whatever, and we all approximate that in our lives. So even if we have 42 hours or we have 40 hours and we just have 40 hours because, or if we have 10 hours for that matter, I can't imagine we're going to really mess with that too much.
So the tiniest of side topics of all time. How good are you at estimating how, like, I think we've talked in this podcast, we're very bad at estimating how long something is going to take us. Like, that aside, how accurate do you feel you are with estimating the amount of time that has passed from point A to point B, or what time of day it is? Like, if I were just randomly ask you if you haven't looked.
The worst. The
really?
single worst. Yeah.
Interesting. So I feel like I've compensated for all of my directional ability in my ability to predict, like, within 30 seconds, like, what time of day it is.
Nice.
My internal clock is fantastic. That does not, to be clear to my wife and to anybody who's ever relied on me time-wise, that does not mean that I'm good at estimating how long something will take. That is a completely different thing. But I am very, very good at estimating what time of day it is, or like how long a particular period of time has passed. I don't know. I think I don't know.
So are you're good at knowing, like, what time of day it is, like, no matter the context?
Yeah, 100%. And, like, if you asked us how long we were recording, I would say probably somewhere around 20-something minutes. Obviously.
Oh, you're annoying.
I'm cheating right now because I'm literally looking at the thing, so I can't actually play the game. You know what? Hey, Nick, we'll play this game. I'm going to minimize this right now, and I'm going to try to interrupt at any point when we hit 30 minutes. We'll see how I do, okay? Okay.
What do you think we've hit? Okay, fair.
Go ahead. It's minimized.
Let me tell you just the real quick, like, the way that my calculus works in my head, right? And I think that I'm pretty okay with numbers and math and, like, the intuitiveness of numbers and math in my day-to-day. But here's how it'll go for me, right? I'll be like, okay, so I was supposed to get to here. Say I'm, like, playing basketball with friends, right? I'm like, okay, I was supposed to get here at, like, noon. Takes a couple minutes to get actually on the court. played like 3 or 4 games. Most games are, I don't know, a couple minutes long. It could be anywhere between 4 a.m. and 6 p.m. I don't really know. Like at that point, I'm just gone. Like I try to do this. I try to do calculus in my head, and I'm just like,
oh my gosh,
no, it's just done nothing for me. This has done nothing. So I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like I just lose it all while trying to do the simple algebra. I say calculus because it feels like calculus in my head, but it's really, really simple algebra is what it actually is. And instead, I'm like, what time is it? When do I have to be where?
Oh my gosh. This is getting to the point where I'm starting to wonder. I before all this said that this might be our best main topic that wasn't a main topic. I'm starting to wonder if it's maybe our main topic.
I don't know. That's
fine.
fine.
It's okay. Yeah. Because we got all kinds of fun stuff. We'll talk about it at the end too. We're doing some more fun stuff with our Patreon only podcast. But Nick, I want to talk to you about rain.
Cool.
What if it's a rainy day on the old weather app? What is your reaction to that sort of thing?
I like rain. Relatively. I live somewhere where it's not like a hindrance to my day-to-day life, so it's nice. Like I don't have like big storms all the time, which is cool, and I also don't have so much rain that I can't, go outside and enjoy the weather. So I am insanely lucky in that regard. But I like rain for the most part. I don't mind being out in the rain. I like going on walks in the rain if it's warm enough. And yeah.
When you were younger, did you live in a place anywhere where you had regular, like, strong thunderstorms or anything like that, Mr. Fairweather fan there out in California?
Sort of. I did live in Massachusetts for a year and a half, and like there were some thunderstorms. I don't think it was like super bad. I know that Kansas gets it pretty good.
No, we have our our the tornado generating storms for sure. But we do have really, really strong thunderstorms that are not like, life-threatening. I absolutely love the sound that thunderstorms, like, I don't even know. And actually, so, Nick, interestingly enough, we've had the past week and a half that I've been back, I think maybe 8 or 9 of the days that I've been back from my trip to Florida, we had thunderstorms, at least to some degree. And one night I had I wanted to talk about it on the podcast, and it was just the perfect example of what I love. And I love the sound of a thunderstorm outside my garage door. So like a bunch of rain, like beating on the garage door and thunder in the background. It is the most calming thing ever. I look forward to that. There's probably 10 or so days out of the year where you really get good ones of those. I recorded some of it on my phone, and if it's good, I haven't actually checked. So if it's good, I'll superimpose that onto what I'm talking right now. But
for sure,
like, my gosh, it is the most calming thing ever.
I kind of agree. Jen actually sleeps with like the sleep sound like playlist stuff, like whatever, and she really likes like rain sounds too, and I find them very, very like just chill and like they bring a vibe. They're great ambiance, right? Like,
well,
I completely agree with you.
She grew up more in the area where that would happen occasionally, right?
Yep, 100%.
Like out in good old Pennsylvania.
Yep, 100%.
But it is like the sort of thing that you have on, white noise apps and stuff like that. There's been many times where like I'll get my son and we will go out and sit in lawn chairs in my garage with the garage door rolled up and just hang out and listen to just the crazy thunder and lightning and watch all the lightning and stuff like that. It is probably my favorite thing about living in the Midwest as far as weather goes. Like, it is just the coolest thing. Obviously, it comes with the threat of having to bunker down your basement and try not to die to a tornado occasionally. But oh my gosh, I love that so much.
Dude, I feel it, and I think I should probably like try to do that kind of thing more. I've been pretty good about like being outside a lot with the quarantine, but I should try to just take in like the simple moments and stuff. Jen and I like to read outside, but we don't read outside with rain. So the next time it rains, I'm gonna think about that.
Oh, cool. Do you like physical book or listen to audiobook?
I like to sit and read if I'm gonna read. And I do audiobooks when I'm like driving or doing something very monotonous.
So just to be clear, like when you're outside, you're reading a physical book.
Yes.
Okay. What's the? Oh my gosh. So I know we've talked about how nice California weather is, but how what is the next 6 months going to look like for you guys? Like what's May through November, I guess is what I'm saying right now.
So like it's actually been pretty temperate lately. We haven't gotten into like blistering heat yet. It's been very temperate. It rained a little bit this week, but like today I think was like high of 70. And this whole week is basically like high of 70. So at some point that will start to taper off into highs of like high 90s, and then in like August, I think July and August you'll see days of like 100, like peaking at 100. Very, very little rain. Very, very little rain in the summer in California. Like we had 2 rainy days that were both barely anything. Like, you know, the ground wasn't even wet for most of the day. It's just like, oh, you woke up, oh, there's rain on the ground. And that was our only rain in the last like 2 or 3 months here. Probably gonna have similar amounts or less between now and like October. And then October and September to November, it'll start to like taper off slowly and get back down to like where we are at now, where it's like highs of 70, highs of like maybe 80. Occasionally, those are mixed up with days of like 80, but SoCal, and I'm also close to the coast where I'm at right now, so it's like a little bit skewed. Even if you just go like 10 miles inland, then you get to slightly less temperate, slightly warmer spots, but my experience right now is very like, everything. It's 70 all the time. It's 75 all the time. Yeah.
For us, it's been 70 something all the time, but also raining all the time.
Yeah.
Did I can't even remember. Did you take the timestamp of when I said it would be half an hour?
No, I knew what it was.
Okay, let's see. How far off am I?
Jeff, you're 10 seconds off.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty good.
Go away. You're a butt. I hate you. I mean, I guess you're like 20 seconds off, 30 seconds off from when you interrupted me, but like not much, Jeff. Not much at all.
I'll take it. So that's my internal clock. My internal clock, ask my wife, my internal clock is significantly better than my internal sense of direction. I'm pretty sure the direction one would be more useful.
You gotta have something to offset what the fact that you don't have any sense of like how long something will take, right? Because at least you can know like in the middle of it, like, oh no, it's supposed to be done.
All right, I do have.
So that was very attacky. I apologize.
No, it's good. I'm back to looking at my wavelengths. It's really nice. I don't have to try to guess where we're at time wise, which does make me feel like I've confirmed the fact that this was the episode where the main topic was the first topic. Well, aside from where we talked about me saying "ope." Anyways, so. One of the things that I realized that is, I don't know, it's not a good thing. I can tell you that. That's
relatable.
But how good algorithms are. So, Nick, are you aware of the current situation with Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers?
Negative.
Okay. So this isn't a sports thing. It's just like to give a little bit of context. So sure. Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. He won MVP last year, has been the quarterback for, I don't know, a decade and a half or whatever. And he has, over the past couple years, and especially this year, expressed a fair amount of lack of faith / enjoyment of the front office there, and it's been a very interesting thing to follow to see how that was always all going to play out. It definitely feels right now that he's potentially played his last game as a Green Bay Packer, but TBD. He's basically threatened to retire and do Jeopardy, like be the Jeopardy host. Which he would 100% be able to do if he wanted to. But also, like I said, the current reigning MVP, that's not exactly the typical way that people go out. Not at all. So it's been very interesting. Anyways, So I've had this happen a couple times. So I have the Twitter app downloaded on my phone with notifications turned on because I want to like be a good podcast person, and that's I think what you're supposed to do. I got a push notification that Aaron Rodgers had decided to retire to go pursue the Jeopardy. Actually, it didn't even say the Jeopardy thing. It's just that he had decided to retire, and I for like half a day believed that was a true tweet because it got pushed to my phone. I clicked on it. It looked legitimate, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so crazy. And it wasn't until like halfway through the day that I was like, hold on. Like, I went to the NFL subreddit to see like all the crazy takes that everybody was going to be having, as you do as a subreddit for any sports group. And I didn't see anything about it. And I'm like, what the, like, hold on. And
I got told.
And then I went and I looked at the tweet, and it was like this stupid, like, terrible account that was like, all the things were just like fake takes on NFL offseason news.
Ugh.
And so it was like completely gross. But like, it looked so legit when I had read it. And like, it is plausible. Like, it's a thing that's been talked about. And I felt so disgusting about that as a thing that I would, I feel so gross. I feel so bad.
Don't you feel gross that I'm sorry if this is my personal bias shining through, but I feel gross that those kinds of accounts just get to keep doing stuff that you just get to like conjecturally like expand on something that like, you know, what they're saying isn't explicitly outright a lie necessarily, but it's a very strong reach from like the information that you actually have on hand. And go away. You shouldn't be allowed to do that. You shouldn't be allowed to just like spread misinformation.
Think about it. This was meaningless. Like, this is just a sports thing.
Yes.
And I got tricked into thinking that stupid Aaron Rodgers retired.
Right.
But like, I was easily fooled for half a day that the reigning MVP had retired to go play Jeopardy or host Jeopardy. And I really struggled with what that means for society in general, and not to brag about myself, but like, that is my background, is understanding how machine learning algorithms are able to manipulate people and how you have to be responsible about that, and to have such a irresponsible version of that thrust to me, and to just passively think that was true. That's really concerning, Nick. Like, people, there's a lot of people that don't try to go get a master's in data science to figure out how to do this sort of thing, that are having to have their worldview shaped by people that do and do so well. Like, it felt so authentic, and I feel so stupid like saying that, like being vulnerable in that, like. But at the end of the day, like, it felt very real, and I thought it was so true, and I just I don't like it at all. I feel very gross.
Yeah, I don't really know what to say except that I'm sorry, and that's so stupid, and we should be like not allowing that to be the case, right? Like, to me, it's so obvious that like that's a just casual abuse of the system, and it's like not a big deal. It's just a freaking football tweet. But it is a big deal in other contexts, and it could easily happen in other contexts, and it's not really like great. It's not really a good thing for our society, my opinion.
No.
I think it's good for our ability to communicate.
It's kind of the genesis for our podcast, and then for the case study for why that matters, see the last 5 years.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And also, just like I've done like 17 topics on this about like Facebook or whatever, and I don't need to rehash it. But dude, why is it okay to just casually lie in your tweets?
Yeah, and have it be pushed to people's phones where it's obviously not true at all.
Yep.
And the reason why it got pushed to my phone is because of probably 1,000 people before me clicked it as soon as it got pushed to their phone, and so now they want to do it to me. I don't know.
Yep.
Is bueno.
Something that I find really hard with that, I'm sorry, I'm going down this rabbit hole more, is that, so okay, if you like casually put out misinformation, even if you retract the statement, not everyone who sees you retract it is gonna see your retraction, right? Like, I don't see every single thing that is said on my feed. Like, my feeds are different, right? My feed, in this case, is basically YouTube, right? But like, if I watch the YouTube video and someone said something false, and I was like, oh man, that's crazy, and then just went about my life, there's no guarantee that I'm gonna see the next video that retracts it. And the same thing is true of a tweet. Most people probably don't see every single tweet by every single person that they ever consume things from. So like, even if that place had freaking tweeted out like the like 5 minutes later, like, oh wait, that was untrue. Yeah. We were misinformed.
The damage is already done.
Yep, exactly right. Exactly.
And like, it's so crazy how that can perpetuate, because like, you're 100% right. Like, it doesn't matter if it's corrected or not. If there is any original source that is a thing that can catch fire and like make a, whole group of people feel one way or the other, like, it doesn't matter if it's true. It doesn't matter if it's corrected. It's just a mess.
Yep. Completely accurate. Completely.
All right. Well, Nick, in the spirit of our podcast, I'm going to move to some things that are more in the fun and interesting.
Yes.
Honestly, it is fun. Interesting. It is on the negative scale of fun, though, the way we're going.
Not that I need to defend like our topic choices or anything, but I think that the reason that we skew so hard there is that it's a thing that we think is like important, and it's also a thing that is like not in the typical realm of things that are like taboo to discuss, and it's also a thing that directly affects you and I a little bit more than normal, like the average person, and so it's like particularly important to us, right? So, and like to your point, you work in data, right? Like, it's important for you to have accurate data, right? Like, even if it's just casual data about your normal day-to-day life and silly things like football, it's like irksome to not be living that like living with accurate data, right? Like, so
no,
yeah.
I'll defend it to the death. Like, regardless, like I do think it's an important thing to say. Like, I don't really care if it's
exactly
fun or interesting, as our intro would say. I think it's important, and I'm totally happy to make compromises where compromises are needed. Nick,
yes.
Speaking of compromises, I would like to talk about naps.
Yeah, naps. Compromises.
Like, really, they're just two things in the exact same sphere of conversation. The effect of algorithms and how that affects us as a society, and naps. So I want to make that easy transition. I want to hear what your thoughts are and your experience with naps.
My wife is the master napper.
Okay. Let's start there.
Go.
What's her nap strategy? Because Nick, this is gonna go deep. This is honestly a good substitute for a final topic, because we're gonna go deep here.
Okay. So she sleeps on the couch instead of on the bed, so that she doesn't sleep. So she doesn't sleep long. She only sleeps before, like, she only takes a nap before like 5 p.m. or starts a nap before 5 p.m. or something like that. That's
an important part. That is a very important part.
And she only
you
does
go too late, you mess everything up.
You're
screwing up the rest of the week.
Exactly. And she does naps. I don't think she does a nap for more than like an hour and a half. I'm not as on top of that one as her. She's not doing it out of a perfect knowledge or of like sleep cycles or anything like that. I think it's just like what she's comfortable with and likes. So she knows that she will sleep too hard if she does too long or something like that.
Okay, I respect that. Nicholas, how about yourself?
I sometimes fall asleep next to her if she's taking a nap. Oh, she's also smart. She like incorporates naps into days where she already knows she's gonna sleep poorly. Like, if she's like, oh, I had to wake up at like 5:30 today instead of 6, then I'm gonna probably take a nap when I get home or whatever the hell. You know what I mean? Okay. She doesn't nap all the time or anything like that. She just naps.
So she knows like early in the day if this is gonna be a nap day or a not nap day.
Yeah. And then my relationship with nap is it's much more technical and methodical. It's sometimes I fall asleep sitting on the couch next to her while she's taking a nap.
That does sound
strategy.
Very well planned.
Thank you.
So do you, man, you feel like a young, youthful, non-nap requiring person. So do you...
Oh no, I'm just miserable. Don't worry. I just sleep poorly.
So like, do you like, how often, like, when's the last time where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to make it through the day unless I close my eyes for at least another half hour or whatever.
This is cheating, but so I apologize that I'm monopolizing the time here. But this is cheating, but after I got my second dose of my vaccine, the next 3 days, I was just done. I just didn't want to be awake.
Count. Like, Nick, you can't use the fact that we had a global pandemic that resulted in a vaccine that made you tired for a second as your experience with naps.
The actual answer is like, I'm a terrible at like, I'm really, really bad at throwing my sleep schedule off if like my sleep schedule is going to get disrupted. So I think there was a day recently where I had to wake up early to help Jen with something. Because she works fairly early and wakes up fairly early, and I had to wake up early to like I don't remember like pick something up for her or something. And I definitely like just came back and was like out on the couch for like 2.5 hours because I woke up like an hour earlier, which is not an appropriate. Like I've done the math right, and I'm pretty sure that's not exactly the amount that I was supposed to be on the couch for. But anyways, that's what I did. Yeah.
So if you do nap, it's on the couch and unplanned and for
generally speaking,
an inappropriate amount of time.
Anywhere from 15 minutes to forever. It's
You're really narrowing it down, you idiot.
Yeah. All right, talk to me. What's your strategy?
Okay.
What do I need to know?
This is a lesson for future Nick. Someday it will matter. Where you don't just have infinity amount of time to just sleep on the couch, you jerk.
I don't have infinity amount of time. I just make my life harder for the rest of the day by doing so. It's
okay. Well, should you ever want to strategically be able to sleep more effectively in the hours that are not between, I don't know, whatever it is, sleeping hours. Honestly, okay, Nick. Before we dive into it, when's the go to bed and when's the wake up time for you? Like on a regular night.
Like 12 to 6:30 ish.
Nick, that is only 6.5 hours.
I've also done that math. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
AJ was literally our guest host and asked us how our sleep habits were, and I told you like bad, poor.
Yeah, but we didn't say the actual times. That is terrible.
Correct, yeah.
There was a time, in all fairness, where I remember us playing video games until like 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning my time, and then we would wake up and go to the gym when they opened at 4:45 pre-kids, and so I guess it could be worse. I literally would go to the gym, work out, and then come home and then pass out for like 2.5 hours in the morning. To
be fair, I often will fall asleep more at like 11 than 12. And also on the weekends, Jen just doesn't mind if I sleep, and I usually just like get exactly 8 on weekends. So I don't know. It's probably not as bad as I make it out to be.
Okay, so the whole point of me telling this entire dumb story about how good or bad we are at sleep is, Nick, there is an effective way of doing naps that I have found over the past like 5 years that is
teach me.
I mean, Nick, it is like, I don't use this word lightly. It is a life hack, which is like the dumbest thing ever. Like the whole
little
like
bit.
It's a very buzzwordy thing. But
is.
Nick, okay, so here's the deal. I sometimes have to do stuff late at night, such as work or record a podcast or etc. But also like during the weekend, if I'm just like completely, spent and I want to do something, but I know that I'm going to be way too tired for that. So here it is. If you know that first off, step 1 is to learn how to take a nap good. So you need to be able to fall asleep.
I have my notepad out.
Thank you. You need to be able to fall asleep within a reasonable amount of time. I don't know if this is a thing that comes easy to you or not, but for me, having a sleep mask on, like that blocks out any light or anything, like is absolutely critical for me to be able to fall asleep in a reasonable amount of time.
You really are an old man.
Yeah, trust me. I'm well past the stages of grief where I'm past acceptance. So sleep mask, frickin' 100% recommend. But then, Nick, here's the thing. Once you learn how to fall asleep quickly, here's the deal. You can, if you know you have a whole lot of stuff to do and you're completely tired, maybe you stayed up really late recording a podcast or something like that, and you have a whole bunch of stuff to write for a school paper or something, not to use any specific examples.
No specific examples.
No, but what you can do is, once you learn how to fall asleep quickly, for me, sleep mask, lay on top of the bed, no covers that are like the regular covers. Maybe you can have like a little blanket or something that's like something that you would keep on a couch or something, but like don't get under the covers because you don't want to get too far into the sleep. But what you do is you brew a cup of coffee, put a couple ice cubes to make it something you can drink quickly, set an alarm for 30 minutes because it's going to take you 5 minutes probably to fall asleep, and 25 minutes is about the time where you can reliably know that you're not going to enter into like that little deep sleep cycle, REM, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. So you chug the coffee, you go to bed, and I will tell you what, Nick, in 30 minutes when that alarm goes off, more than likely you'll beat it because the coffee will start to kick in. You'll wake up. You will freaking awake as if you have slept for 60
years.
plus hours and are awaking as the most awake
And ready to go.
Like you're gonna freaking kill whatever it is that you're trying to
man.
do. You are a new human that has been born upon this planet to do great things. You feel fantastic. It's like amazing. Like it literally feels like a life hack. It is not fair that you should be able to feel that good after taking like this little caffeine delayed miraculous transformation. I don't even know what the words are to say it. Like you literally feel fantastic. I did not make this up myself. I stole it, but it is a very weird thing, and but it
makes perfect sense, right? Like you're just
effective.
waiting the coffee hit your system, and then you you prep everything so that you can take the coffee right before you fall asleep and drink it quickly, and then you like let your coffee hit your system as you're also like sleeping. Yeah, it makes perfect sense to me.
But my gosh, Nick, it is. If there's ever a time where you need to be especially effective after you know that you're going to be tired, that is 100% my recommendation. Be a weird person, brew some coffee or whatever, chug it right before you take a nap, wake up 25 minutes or so later, and freaking take on the world. There you go.
I like it. I'm a big fan.
All right. So
Makes
we are.
Sense to me.
Okay. Well, regardless of our lack of main topic, we've certainly made it to the point where we now. We are about to go watch the Lakers-Warriors game and then record our post-game impressions in our Patreon-only episode the year we started another podcast. You can check that out at patreon.com/TYWSAP. That's TYWSAP. And if you would like, you can also shoot us ideas about things to talk about at tywasap@gmail.com. We will talk, I promise, about our Rivers topic, which was submitted by a listener of the show. Sometime soon. Yep, no spoilers, but definitely also check us out on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and anything honestly other than Snapchat. We are constantly active on all of those channels. Definitely check us out. That's a little bit tongue-in-cheek if you're not familiar. You can also check us out at tywasap.com to get links to all those things. Nick, shut up. I hear your noises. Wow, Nick. You know what? I'm getting to the end of our show notes here, and this is the part where I say thank you for potting with me. But, Nick, you know what? You've potted with me. I don't know if I can say thank you at this point.
Well, you're welcome. This has been the year we started the podcast. Thank you for listening.